don't even have a full copy of the script. Didn't really feel like a big part of the movie because I was always kind of isolated in my little dark little painting room. Initially, Mystique, you know, she's the poser. I mean, I was hired to be the poser in the movie, so, you know, it wasn't much of a stretch, and also sitting through hours and hours of hair and makeup, I've had to do that before. Mystique was originally the character that, you know, she morphs into other characters, so at the beginning of the scene, she's, ta-da, I'm Mystique, and then she morphs into somebody else who does all the action, and then, ta-da, I'm Mystique at the end, at the end of the scene. And Fox ended up really loving the image, and so they added a couple fight scenes, and it ended up kind of growing, I think, over the course of the film, of the production. Through 7 to 8 hours, excruciating hours of makeup every day. So, well, not every day. I was in and out of Toronto for the 4-month period that they were shooting the film, but it was really hard. My call times would be 1 to 3 a.m. for the most part.
I have
4 women who worked on me, and the 30. It was like 2/3 of my body covered in prosthetics, and then the rest prosthetic scales, like sheets of prosthetics, and then over 100 prosthetics in all. Okay. Very thin, and they move really well. I mean, they're so stretchy. But I don't feel naked once I have them all on, even though I guess I look fairly naked. And for a while, you know, because it's kind of cold outside right now, for a while I thought they'd keep me warm, but they don't. It's kind of like wearing wet clothes when I have them on. They kind of make me colder.
Is it itchy or uncomfortable?
No, I mean, it seals off my skin, but it's not uncomfortable at all. It's actually very, very comfortable. The rest was all airbrushed blue paint, which made me really sick to my stomach.
We started.
It actually wasn't the makeup application process that got to me after a while. It was the maintenance of it that was so horrible, because the pieces would shift and I'd get little halos of skin around the edges of my prosthetics, and so they were constantly re-airbrushing, you know, repainting my body, and so the maintenance really killed me. And plus I had to wear a wig and 2 pairs of contact lenses. It was the most mind-numbing process you could ever imagine. And I maintain that nobody without modeling experience could have handled it. I still have blue pores. Mutants that have evolved and they're using their powers for good, and there are those that evolved and they're using their powers for bad. Mystique, who's the shapeshifter, and I'm the martial arts fighter. And I morph into other characters in the movie, and I'm solid blue. Sit through 7 to 8 hours of makeup every day. It was like 2/3 of my body covered in prosthetics, and the rest was all airbrushed. When I first took this on, they told me it would take 10 hours.
6 hours.
You know those, like, silicone spiders that you throw against the wall and they slowly climb down the wall? That's what they feel like. We were doing night shoots, so it was down in the 30s. As soon as they would yell action, they would drop my coat, but, you know, between takes, they kept me warm with hair dryers up my sleeves. That's how I survived those long nights. Those mutants that have evolved and they're using their powers for good, and there are those that evolved and they're using their powers for bad. I'm the shapeshifter, and I'm the martial arts fighter. I morph into other characters in the movie, and I'm solid blue. It was like 2/3 of my body covered in prosthetics, and the rest was all airbrushed blue paint.
City. You ready?
And Fox ended up really loving the image, and so they added a couple fight scenes, and it ended up kind of growing, I think, over the course of the film, of the production.
Mystique made the cover of American Cinematographer. Rebecca Romijn, model, actress, best-looking woman they could find. The request was nude, with scales. We tested the idea with a model before Rebecca was hired. Her breasts were the only 3D application. The rest of the appliances were flat, patterned directly on her body, not unlike a tailor would with a piece of fabric. The difference here was that our fabric took on the form with no tailoring. It also safely adhered to and moved with the skin itself. Food coloring colored both prosthetics and the skin, keeping both transparent. It was beautiful. This is Tanya Richards' drawing of Rebecca as Mystique. Mystique's eye designs are pinned to the wall with it. An average body her size has about 18 square feet of surface area. We needed a lot of prosthetics. Here, Marianne Lubin and Carolyn DeMoy worked with makeup artist Linda Dodds to put that back prosthetic on Rebecca. The trick is not to capture air under the appliance. Given it is so thin, even the smallest bubble can be seen. Lifting and trying again is the only way to solve that problem. The beauty here is that you can lift that appliance, try again as often as you like. You cannot damage the appliance, nor will you affect the quality of the bond to the skin. That is not to say the stick will last forever. It is, of course, a sticky material, which means over time it will have picked up enough dead skin cells and dirt from the air to lose its stick forever, just like you powdered it. The girls have left the plastic on the lower part of the appliance to deal with that application separately. That is why, other than for handling, we always kept the sticky side of the appliance covered in plastic until we needed it. Edges were still glued down as we did the spots. The rest of the appliance stuck perfectly well all on its own. By X-Men 2, we lost the glue and substituted it with gel tin. It worked much better, with far less effort and far less mess. It limited how many times we could reuse the prosthetic, but the safety and movement benefits were worth it. To make it, first we colored our silicone, platinum gel tin, with our cosmetic-grade food color. With that, we filled all the scales and spots, scraping off any remaining materials on the surface of the mold. We then added a thin layer to connect all the scales and spots together. Thin, but strong enough to pull all the scales out of the mold together as one prosthetic. Over that we added a backing layer of soft silicone gel, which was our self-sticking layer. The quality of the stick is evident. How it moves is evident. The appliance stretched and returned, every muscle movement exposed. You can see the turquoise hue from the yellows of the wrong skin, now beautifully highlighting the scale patterns as they flow across her body. I'd like to say it's as easy as that, but it is. For calf prosthetics, again, seeing is believing. John Gaglione saw Mystique as the future of couture. Given this was our first attempt, I believe he's right. I mean, all the properties of the materials on display here are made for the world of couture, safe to both make and wear. Every different material has its own unique properties designers used for their own creative advantage, just like we did, which gave John Gaglione the opportunity to see the character in action and the prosthetics on display at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City in an exhibition called Superheroes, Fashion and Fantasy in 2009. And this footage was taken in 1999. So far, no glue. The stick is evident. Even after stretching the prosthetic into shape, it is evident. At this point, it's not going anywhere, but the edges can still be lifted, so we glued them down. I'd love to show you the difference to this part of the process when we substituted glue for gel 10, but I can't. You'll just have to believe me that it worked. It had to sit on her arm as designed, where it would not fold when she bent her arm. That principle was used in the sculpt and the location of every appliance. Then the edges need to be glued down. I have already lightly glued the edges of the appliance. Rebecca doesn't like it so close to her eyes. No problem. I'll just take it off, and then I'll put it on again. I don't know how much simpler a prosthetic can be. As it was the last thing to be done before paint. Paint was a nightmare in regards to the volume of coverage. No ventilation, which you can see, in the middle of a freezing winter, where opening the door is just as problematic. Artist Tanya Richards, makeup artist Linda Dowds, and artist Julie Boole took on the job. It was grueling work. I found it difficult to watch, given had we used food coloring, it would have taken minutes and looked so much better. Especially because every other character we did on the film, I did with food coloring. Toad, for example. We had no choice but to abandon that approach when Bryan Singer declared he wanted a shot of her in the rain. Never happened. Instead, we had hours of makeup every day. The thing I liked best about food coloring, other than the way it looked, was that it was safe and naturally disappear as soon as the body sheds its dead skin cells, which it did every day. I had a product called Duran, used by the ink industry, that removed all of the pigment in about an hour. It was all we needed to know to give the ideal legs. I suggested a sauna, a hot shower, removal approach, then Duran if necessary. Or don't worry about it, because you don't have to, and block your scenes together. The time and money saved would be substantial. Instead of thousands of dollars worth of airbrush equipment, a sea sponge. As difficult as all the airbrushing was, getting it off was worse. We left her hands and head until the end. Other than all the alcohol in the air, another problem with the body paint was that it had castor oil in it, which means it needed substantial powdering to take the shine out of it. On X-Men 2, I had Kenny Myers and Premium Products remove the castor oil. We still powdered, but nothing like this. Hair. This little hairpiece is what made Donna Glidden's wig really work well. Her hairstylist, Kelly Shanks, has prepared Rebecca for her wig, with that lace piece hugging her neck. The next element is a thin piece of colored, self-sticking silicone to lay under the lace front of the wig. Tanya Richards applies it with Kelly, pinning and trimming it to fit. Donna Glidden's wig is already styled before it goes on. Once on, it pulls the whole thing together. She's beautiful. The last appliance were her scleral lenses. She wore soft protected lenses over her iris. Her detailed lenses sat on top of that. It worked, but it should have been CG. Rebecca has a condition called dry eyes, which means she shouldn't have had contact lenses in her eyes at all. It was a lot of work, but she was beautiful. Rebecca was beautiful. The character was beautiful. Sunset footage we took on the day. The day is not over for Rebecca. Her hero lenses have already been removed, and now her protective lens is being removed. As Kelly removes her wig, Rebecca just peels off her facial prosthetics. Two things evident: the quality of the bond of the skin, and the fact that we are not destroying the prosthetic. In fact, they are cleaned and prepped for the next day's application for Vicky Phillips and her stunt double. All things relative, that's a very easy appliance removal, especially with the glue all stays with the prosthetic, leaving her pretty much clean as a whistle. Impatience is the drive in this removal, but you can see the quality of the stick. She's had this on all day long. Most of the effort here is removing the glue, which stays with the prosthetic. We did put a sealer on the skin to protect it from the glue. The appliances were bathed in 99% alcohol to clean them. 99% alcohol removes the stick, but once evaporated, the stick is back. Well, that was the easy part. Now we had to remove all that.
Welcome, Professor.
Where the hell are we?
Fire! know, people like you are the reason I was afraid to go to school as a child.
Right, back up, back up.
I know, but there's a problem. You're not part of the group.
I may be forgiven. Thank you.
The Mutant Registration Act continues to draw support.
Mystique.
Stryker, William.
Bottoms up.
Excuse me. They say you can imitate anybody. Even their voice. Even their voice.
No one's ever left a scar quite like you.
You want an apology?
You know what I want. But what do you want?
What do you really want?
Could be anybody.
Anybody? Where is he?
In here, with us.
I don't want to play games with you. I want answers. You don't want to play games with me? You want to know where he is?
Oh, Mr. President.
Shut up!
Why are you doing this to me? Let me down. I'll be a good girl. Please let me go. Please.
Yeah, Ray.
so.
Daily marker. Set.
Action. Great, got it.
You saved me.